You've made it past the security team. You've navigated the lobby. You have found the boss's chair. Now, what are you going to do? Are you going to sit in it and scream orders? Are you going to break the chair so no one else can sit there? Or are you going to call a hitman to throw the chair into a wood chipper? Welcome back to Pharmacology Lore. In the last episode, we met the receptors, the guards. Today, we look at the interaction itself. Because here is the uncomfortable truth. Drugs are clingy, they are manipulative, and depending on how they touch the receptor, they can save your patient's life or turn their liver into a gentle pate. Let's talk about binding. Step 1. The approach. A drug doesn't just teleport into the receptor, it gets pulled in. First, you have ionic bonds. This is the long-distance wave across the bar. The receptor has a negative charge. The drug has a positive charge. Opposites attract. It's strong, it happens fast, but it's not intimate. It just gets you in the door. Once you're close, you need the van der Waals forces and hydrogen bonds. This is the cuddle phase. These forces are weak individually, and they are incredibly picky. They only work if the drug fits the receptor's pocket perfectly. If the drug is a little too fat or the shape is wrong, these forces don't happen and the drug falls off. This is what gives us specificity. It's why a key opens a lock, but a banana does not. And then there are covalent bonds. In pharmacology, we call this marriage. It involves electron sharing. It is incredibly strong, 250 to 500 kilojoules per mole for you nerds, and it is usually irreversible. Once a drug forms a covalent bond, it's not letting go. The only way to stop the effect is for the cell to destroy the receptor and build a new one. Aspirin does this to your platelets. It's not a fling. It's a life sentence. We measure this clinginess with something called affinity, or KD. Here is the rule. The lower the KD, the stickier the drug. Think of it like a bad ex-boyfriend. A low KD means it takes very little effort for him to show up and stay on your couch. A high KD means you need a lot of him in the room to get one to stick. Okay, you've bound to the receptor. You're in the chair. Now, what do? If you act like a manager and start shouting orders, you are an agonist. Agonists have two things. Affinity, they stick, and intrinsic activity, they make things happen. A full agonist sits in the chair and cranks the factory to 100%, maximum output. This is morphine. But then we have the partial agonist. This guy sits in the chair, but he's kinda lazy. Even if he occupies 100% of the chairs in the building, he only gets the factory working at, say, 50% capacity. And here is the trap. If you have a patient on a full agonist, like heroin, and you throw in a partial agonist, like buprenorphine, the partial agonist steals the chair. Because he has high affinity, he kicks the heroin out. But because he has low intrinsic activity, the factory slows down. You just put your patient into withdrawal by giving them a drug. Congratulations, you played yourself. Now, a quick side note for the inverse agonist. Old textbooks say receptors are off until a drug turns them on. That's a lie. Receptors are chatty. They have constitutive activity. They hum in the background. An inverse agonist binds to the receptor and actively tells it to shut the hell up. It doesn't just block, it reduces activity below baseline. Most antihistamines are actually inverse agonists. They silence the noise. Now let's talk about the haters, the antagonists. These guys have affinity, they love the chair, but they have zero intrinsic activity. They don't shout orders, they just sit there so nobody else can. First, the competitive antagonist. This is a reversible competition. It's a numbers game. If you have one blocker and 10 activators, the activators can shove the blocker out of the chair. We call this surmountable. On a graph, it shifts the curve to the right. You can still get to 100% effect, you just need a massive dose of agonist to outscream the blocker. This is naloxone reversing an overdose. Then there is the non-competitive antagonist. This guy either superglues himself to the chair or he goes around the back and cuts the power cord. It doesn't matter how much agonist you add, you cannot win. The chair is out of play. We call this unsurmountable. The max effect drops. The factory is permanently down a manager. Now, let's get advanced. Sometimes you don't want to sit in the boss's chair. You just want to stand behind him and whisper, "This is allosteric modulation." You aren't touching the main lock, the orthosteric site. You are touching a different part of the receptor to change its shape. PAMs, positive allosteric modulators, are the hype men. They whisper, "Good job," to the receptor. They make the natural ligand bind tighter or work harder. Benzodiazepines do this. They don't open the GABA channel, they just make GABA better at opening it. And then you have NAMs, negative negative modulators. They are the haters. They make the receptor worse at its job. You aren't the driver, you're the backseat driver. And sometimes that's more powerful. And finally, if you truly hate a protein, don't just block it, put a hit out on it. This is the future, PROTACs. These aren't inhibitors, they are molecular glues. One side grabs your target, the other side grabs the cell's garbage man, E3 ligase. It forces them to hug. The garbage man tags the receptor for destruction and the cell shreds it. We aren't occupying the chair anymore. We are throwing the chair into the wood chipper. So to recap, binding is a relationship, agonists are managers, partial agonists are incompetent substitutes, competitive antagonists are seat stealers, and PROTACs are hired assassins. Understanding who is in the chair and how sticky they are is the only way to understand why a patient lives or dies. So you know the players, you know the moves, but pharmacology isn't just about what happens, it's about how much. Next time, we face the beast that fails more med students than any other, the dose-response curve. We are going to calculate exactly how much drug it takes to kill you. I'm waiting, the factory doesn't run itself, click the next video.